Hi Flosstube, welcome back to the Blue Box Stitcher. My name is Catherine and this is my channel all about cross stitch. It's been a little over a month since we last talked. Happy December, happy end of year, happy holidays if you celebrate. I am very excited for like the end of year festivities. My family celebrates Christmas, and I will get into it later, but I personally celebrate Thanksgiving with my family, and that was like a bit of a train wreck this year, so I'm like ready for a do-over for the holidays already. But let's just like get right into my stitching because I have been laser focused on my end of year goals. I started this year saying that I didn't really want any goals. Like my goals were just to stitch consistently on what I wanted to stitch and to start a bunch of new projects. And I would say overall, like I hit that goal. And I'm planning on doing like a more in-depth video on how my 2025 went and my 2026 plans. That will come out sometime in January. But kind of at the halfway point, more at like the 75% mark of the year, I decided that there were some things that I wanted to get done by the end of the year. And so I've been working super hard on those. So let's get into it. Of course, I started something. As I say, I'm locked into finishing things. I had one planned start left for the rest of the year, and that was my Nora November start. What did I do with it's down here. I used this bag to bring home all my projects for Thanksgiving because I ended up working on most of them at home as well. It's from Ragtag Quilt Arts. It's actually the first project bag I ever got for myself. I have 3, but I love my project bags. I don't have a project bag per project because I don't live the financial lifestyle to do that. But I started Fern by Nora Corbett for Nora November. She is super beautiful. And I really like, I say this every time, but I like that it looks like she's wearing pants. As a slightly more mask leaning person. I just think she was like a good fancy lady to start. And I think she's super cute. I had some trials and tribulations with her. I'll show you my start and we'll get into it. So, I'm stitching her on 16 count Barnwood by Picture This Plus. And this is my start. It's so small. So, it's literally just this. It's like it's like 142 stitches, I think. Pretty minuscule. I ran into a couple of issues with this one. One, I didn't really actually want to start something in November. I wasn't really feeling it, because I was like locked in. But I'd been looking forward to starting this all year, and so I just decided to like pull it out one day and just get a start on it. And then, so that's one of the reasons why I didn't work on it so much. The other thing that there were 2 other things that really stalled up my progress. One, I bought the fabric, but everything else for the kit, I won in a pinwheel auction by Emily C. Over the summer. And so she works for a charity in Georgia, and you could buy pinwheels by like donating $5 to this organization, and it would enter you into like a lottery for cross stitch like lots or gift baskets. And I won one of them. I've always thought that I should like make a video about my haul from it because I won so many kitted things. It's actually crazy. So much like fancy floss. Everything came with linen. I don't stitch with linen, so I'm like, maybe if my channel gets bigger, I would do a giveaway of the linen. But I have like all these kitted up projects, and the reason I chose this particular lot was because I knew I wanted to start Fern, and it had the whole project kitted up. So it has the beads, the cry neck, and the DMC floss, as well as the pattern. And it also had linen. So I ran into So that I'm so, so, so grateful for that. And so I'd sort of been like, okay, well, my start, she's set. I just need to buy the fabric for her, which I did. And I really wanted to go for this, like, I wanted something that would make it look like she's walking through kind of like a spooky forest vibe, which I think I honestly succeeded pretty well in. And I like that. So picture this plus is like famously a little bit tight, which is true in my experience with it. And so I kind of like to work with that and be like, I'm primarily a 16 count stitcher. I'm actually going to bring out my 1 18 count project in this month, but everything else is on 16 count. But I decided to go with a 16 count picture this plus, so it would be a little bit tighter, so my stitches would just look that much more delicate, you know? However, I don't stitch on paper charts. So I'm gonna show you like her feet, I think is fine. Like I'll show you like this. Who's stitching that? I can't do that. That's ridiculous. So that was a struggle. And then I'm gonna show you the size of the chart. It's like not a standard piece of paper. It's like wider, I think. It's gotta be wider. And obviously it's longer. So I decided I was gonna scan it and turn it into a PDF. And when I went home for Thanksgiving, my mom helped me do it, and we went to Staples, and it was actually super easy. And a fun fact is that the size of at least this Mirabilia chart is exactly the correct size to fit just on top of like an office printer scanner, the ones where you like lift up the top and it has the thing. So that was great. So now I can put it in a markup RXP, which I did. It's not the most like high def scan you'll ever get, but it cost 60 cents, and it was super easy, and now I can use it on markup. The second issue I ran into that I didn't even really think about was that all the floss is in the DMC skeins, and I never put them on bobbins. So I really need to do that, but that just meant that like it was sort of aggravating. I don't like to stitch from the skeins. I want them in bobbins, but then I was also on like a low buy, so I didn't really want to go to Michael's, because you know if you walk into Michael's, you're not just walking out with plastic bobbins, okay? You either have the self-control to do that, or the knowledge that you don't have the self-control to do that. And I have the knowledge that I don't have the self-control to do that. So I'm planning on like going to Michael's at some point in December and kitting it up, or it is kitted up, but you know, bobbinating on my thread. And then it will finally be perfect where, you know, my floss is all in bobbins, my pattern's in markup RXP, and I can just like go to town. But I have other things that I want to stitch on for December, so I'm not sure if this one's going to come back out or if I'm just going to like have this start for whenever I want to get back to it next year. So I am glad that I started it, because like I said, I can just kind of get back to it whenever I want, and through starting it was like, oh, I actually need to do all of these things. So it'll be ready the next time I want to bring it out, but it was just kind of a comedy of errors for like something that I won. So that's that. Next up we have my 2024 Stitch for Pride. I'm still kind of cooking on this, TBH. I want to have 6,000 stitches left at the end of the year at most. I'd hopefully like to have a little bit less, so that I can do 1,000 stitches a month to finish it in June. And the closer I get to that, like the more I work on it, the more I can taste it. 1,000 stitches a month is still a pretty big ask for me, but I'm feeling it. So, after the somewhat disaster of October, when I realized I had to frog like 300 stitches, I just moved the hoop. So I still have to frog. I'll show you the part. I still have to frog a lot of this yellow, which I might do today, because I'm finally feeling like I can, you know, attack that. But I don't remember if I had done this in October or finished it in November, but I finished the bottom of the Sriracha bottle, which was very satisfying. I finally got the rest of my floss in. And then I got another motif done. It was definitely one of the smaller ones, but it was just so satisfying to do and to like really have no issue with that it really made me feel good going forward. So let me just like fold it in a good way so that it'll look good. But I did these arrows. So the lighting's not great right now. I don't know if the window is really helping things, but I just really like having the window in my videos. But I did all of these. It is even on like my phone camera, like taking a front photo and like better lighting, it's still really hard to get this brown floss to like properly appear, but I have been using this as sort of a floss sampler. And so I wanted to get a new kind of floss, and I got Valdani 3-ply silks, and they are so beautiful. Like, I almost shouldn't have done it because I'm like, oh, I love. Of course, like, so it's called Valdani 3-ply silk, so I just sort of thought that it was like, I thought it was like silky, which is up here, which is one indivisible thread. That's the, I feel like it's not focusing very well. One indivisible thread that's the like thickness of 2 DMC strands. And so I did the first triangle and I was like, she's really thick. I don't know about that. Then I did the second one and I was like, yeah, this is too thick, but we gotta keep moving forward. Then I realized I could actually split up. It's like 3 strands in each strand, if that makes sense. 3 threads in each strand. So I could split them up. Obviously, it's like, the one thing I will say about the 3-ply is like, I don't really understand why you would have like an odd number. I don't know what the choice was there, because I feel like you either stitch in 1 or 2, like pretty much everyone always stitches in 1 or 2 strands. So if there's 3 threads, then like, it was just sort of annoying because then I would have to put, because it's variegated, I would have to put strands together to get my 2 strands that like their variegation didn't match. I still think it came out beautiful and you can't even really tell, but I could see how that would be aggravating on something where it's like maybe more of like a block and the variegation would be more apparent. It's not really a choice that I understand, I guess is what I'm saying. But in general, I'm really happy with it, and I'll show you the full piece. So I have to do 800 stitches. I already like took out the stitches from Markup RXP that I know I need to frog. So this is the correct count number. I have 800 stitches to do at least in December, and then I will have 6,000 stitches left for 2026. So she's at like 45% right now. And I'm really happy with that. I will obviously I need to be over 50% by the end of December, and I think that will be a milestone that is like super satisfying and hopefully really motivating. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I did not even, okay, it's on 16 count black Zweigart, which is freaking shredding my floss, but we're moving forward. I already have been eyeballing, I don't know, like, I don't think I would ever do like a huge sampler like this on black Zweigart again, but for a while I was like a little worried that it would just like not match the rest of my cross stitch collection, because it really doesn't with my other pieces that I'm working on right now. So I've been kind of eyeballing some like kits or something. I want to do a couple more pieces on black Ada, so that this isn't like my only black Ada piece. And it is the 2024 Stitch for Pride by D's 20 Stitches. and each motif represents a different queer or trans artist. When I finish this, which will be in June, so it'll be perfect because it will be Pride Month. Did you notice I said will be? Because it will be. I will do like an entire video going through each artist because I'm not always prepared to do that in my Flosstube videos. But I love the education, and I think it's a really wonderful thing that Dee did. He did just announce that he's not doing a 2026 Stitch for Pride, and that he's going to be focusing on creating other kinds of designs, and this just wasn't like fulfilling him creatively anymore, which I totally understand. And like I said, I'm working on the 2024 one, and I'm planning on finishing it in 2026, so like I don't need to be tempted by another one. I'm like actually feeling some FOMO from not getting the 2025 Stitch for Pride, but I'm like, you cannot. Although the most recent one I saw was Vita Saxville West, and if you know anything about me, you know I love Virginia Woolf and Vita Saxville West. But that's a story for another day. Speaking of things that are planned finishes, this will be done by the end of the year. Hopefully in the next week. And that is my Capybara tea time. Hopefully this is the last time I will have to show you the picture, because by the next time you see this, it will be done. It looks like this. It is so close to being done. Maybe for 2026 I'll get a proper board. It is so close to being done. It's actually unbelievable. I literally just have like a couple spots left on the capybara and a couple little designs here and there, and then I'm done. I have like a little over 300 stitches left on this. Honestly, he would be done by now, but I brought him home and then I forgot some of the floss for him, so I could not. Also, in case you were wondering, the cat sort of come into my room because I left the door open to air it out because I got back from traveling last night. So it's a little stuffy, and they're just like so annoyed that I'm talking to my phone and not interacting with them. And they're also usually not allowed in my room, and I'm letting this slide because I love the cats, but I am like allergic to them. But like right behind the camera, Midnight is so mad. I'll like insert a picture here of a picture of him because he's like, girl, why? But back to Capybara tea time. I'm like rocking through this. This is going to be a short video, which is good. I don't know. I just don't feel like I have a lot to say about these. I'm like, yes, I'm trying to finish them. I'm really excited. This will be the biggest piece that I have finished once I finish it. And it's just like very rewarding to see something that I started at the end of last year be done at the end of this year, and I can't wait to finish it and put it on my wall. I haven't really had that many finishes this year, and it's just really cool to see like kind of a bigger, for me, project come to fruition. I'm very excited. Candy, come here, come here, come on, come here, come on, come on. Can I show the people you? No. I have two cats in my room now. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, Candy did not want to be picked up. Started clinging to the carpet. That's fine. That's fine. The cats can just wander, I guess. Sniff my suitcase. Okay, on to the next. The next one is Spring Night by Luca S. It's a kit that I actually got from my family for Christmas last year. I asked for it. But it's my only full coverage piece. I'm getting really tempted by other full coverage, but I've been good so far. And I have like a loose plan of wanting to finish this by the time I turn 30. I turned 26 in February, so that's a pretty long ways away, but I'm not a very fast stitcher, and I have a lot of projects, so we'll see. But I've been kind of trucking away with this one, and I found this one to be here, I'll show you. But I have just, I don't know, really enjoyed working on this one recently. So I have just been working on putting more of this one color in, and I actually am like almost done with that one color on this page is like this. And now I just put in a new color in this cloud, if you can see. So I'm going to start filling in the clouds, but I have found it just, I think when I'm like very stressed, and I'm trying not to do it too much because I don't want to pour all my stress into this project, but I have found it very soothing when things feel very overwhelming to just pull this project out and like go to town on one color. And I think that is what I had wanted out of a full coverage project. And why, even though I'm like eyeing some projects from Unconventional Cross Stitch and Thread Geeks, I'm a little bit nervous about starting those because I think they will be more confetti heavy. And I have somewhat shockingly just really enjoyed like going to town on this one color. Just filling it in. It's like coloring. And I think I've realized what appeals to me so much about full coverage. I like watching people stitch it. It's very satisfying. But I think what appeals to me in particular about full coverage, I know a lot of people are like, why would you not just buy like a print of that art or a picture? I think of artwork that's converted into cross stitch, I see the print situation, and I'm not super into like the photorealistic full coverage, but to me, one, it's all about the process, which again I've found very relaxing. It's just like, yeah, it's like coloring. It's just very relaxing, but to me, I almost think of them as tapestries. You're like weaving a tapestry of a picture. I like running my hands over the stitches, and I just love them. There's that. Last project was kind of a surprise, but a good one. And this is another one that I've decided I want to be done by the end of the year. I have 7 projects in the back of my mind that I'm like, I could potentially finish by the end of the year. Now, I finished like 4 this entire year, so the math's not really mathing there. But I have a lot of smalls that like I got to like the last 10% and just like put down for whatever reason. Like I just wanted to get back to my larger projects. And so now I have a lot of things that are pretty close to being done that I'm like, you could all be done. And I don't necessarily know if I want to bring them into the new year. I'm going to talk more about that. I need to talk about this first. So this is Tulip. It's a kit by Marishka. I think it's the red tulip. There's a purple one too that I kind of want. A quick disclaimer. I can't really figure out where this company is headquartered. I think it might be Latvia, but it also kind of could be Russia. I don't buy goods from Russia while they are trying to take over Ukraine. That was like an accident by me. So I like this kit. I think it's very good. I would stitch the other tulip if I could, 1, figure out where the headquarters are, or 2, the war ended. There's my disclaimer. But she looks like this. She is so close to being done. And she has been so close to being done for the majority of this year. But it is one of the only paper charts that I have. Actually, I probably just put a photo up there. I was going to say I could get the photo, but I don't feel like doing that. And I'm just not a paper chart girly. I also just find it so hard to like dive back into this and figure out where I am on the chart because I didn't mark it up. You can't really mark up the charts. You'd have to make a working copy if that's how you wanted to do your paper pattern, because it's like that shellacky paper. But after I have done some, I did like 100, I probably did 200 stitches on this month. And I'm gonna finish it this month. I probably did 200 stitches last month, I mean, and then I'm planning on finishing it in December. I know that I finished this leaf in November, and then I put more stitches up in this leaf. So my plan is to finish out this leaf, which is pretty close to being done, and then there's like background petals right here that I need to finish, and that will be it. The other reason that this went away for so long was that I lost one of the thread colors. The majority of it is like in the project already, but I need to like leave blank spaces and then fill them in at the end with like a color I think will look good there, and I think that is also kind of stressing me out, but I need to just like do it because this is a really beautiful piece. I would say this is probably my most popular piece among my like IRL friends. I think because the shading is just like so spectacular on this, and like my other projects are very cool and cute, but this is like beautiful, which is a little bit funny because it's literally 14 count. It's like by far my least fancy project. It's just a kit that like I got, and it's on 14 count white Aida. I don't really, would never choose myself to stitch on white Aida unless it came from a kit. So it's just like proof, I guess, that sometimes, you know, the traditional way is best. And I like that it's just one single flower with like a ton of detail, and there's no backstitch. I'm not necessarily anti-backstitch, but I'm not mad that there's no backstitch. So that was it. That was all my stitching for November. My November was a little chaotic. I was sick for pretty much the entire second half of November. I had a cold, and then I went home, and I was really excited to rest. And then I got really bad food poisoning that I like still feel like I'm kind of recovering from. So my November was like a little bit more hectic than I wanted it to be, and I didn't really get as much time to like hunker down as the weather has finally been getting colder in Austin and stitch. But I still got a decent amount of stitching done, and I'm happy with the progress that I'm making, so I'm really excited in December to just hunker down. I also had originally I had some Flossmas ideas. That will not be happening anymore because I had wanted to pre-film a lot of them, and like I said, November was kind of a bust. But I am planning on I'm going to the Jingle Ball this weekend, and I'm planning on filming a vlog for it. So hopefully that goes well. I guess you'll find out in a couple weeks if it comes up on my channel or not. And then for the end of the year, I think what I'm going to do, depending on how December goes, is I'd like to do a finish parade at the end of December, hopefully with a bunch of new finishes. And then my next regular Flosstube would be at the end of January. So loosely, I kind of want to do my Jingle Ball vlog, a finish parade at the beginning of January. I want to do a yearly wrap-up and a 2026 plans. And then that will be my next Flosstube after that. We'll see if any of that happens. Part of me is like, well, now you've said it, so it's not going to happen, but it doesn't really matter if it does or not. That's pretty much it for my cross-stitching. In terms of reading, watching, playing, I have been on a reading tear the past few weeks, which is, I think, partially also the reason, oh my gosh, I'm tired, and I'm not drinking coffee because I'm scared to put anything that acidic in my still sensitive stomach. I've been reading a ton. I read The City of Saints and Madmen by Jeff Vandermeer, and that book is crazy. I would definitely look up trigger warnings for it if you want to read it. I would not say it's like, I don't really read really graphic or violent books. This was like sort of borderline for me, but Jeff Vandermeer is one of my favorite authors. He wrote the Annihilation trilogy. It's called the Southern Reach trilogy, but the book everyone knows is Annihilation because they made a movie out of it. That movie is terrifying. But the books are so... I read the Southern Reach trilogy, and I've read a couple other books by him, and then my book club decided we were going to read Obsidian Saints and Mad Men, which is... It's just insane. It's like a collection of short stories set in this fictional world, but each short story is written by, like, a different fictional character, and it's the kind of book where you're reading it and you're like, something's wrong with the author. You have to be, like, a little mentally ill to write this. And I mean that in, like, the highest complimentary way. I guess that's all I'll say about that. The ones who know about Jeff Vandermeer. The ones who don't, you should know. And you should read him, but I wouldn't start with this particular book. After that, I felt like I needed a bit of a... I just needed a breather. And so I decided to... I was also looking at my books that I'd read over the year and was looking a little pasty, shall we say. I did a lot of mood reading this year, just like finding random books and reading them, and it was not as diverse when I was looking back at it than I wanted it to be. So I was kind of going through what was available on Libby, and I just wanted to pick like a random fantasy book to like sink my teeth into. And what I ended up finding was this series called Witchlings. I forget the author, but I will link my Goodreads down below. And it's written by a Latina author, and oh my god, it's like a middle grade fantasy. I forgot how much I love middle grade, and it was like exactly what I needed after reading The Chaos of Jeff Vandermeer. It's a 4-book series, and no, it's a 5-book series, but she's writing the 5th book right now. The four of them are out. I read the first 3. I'm on hold on Libby for the 4th one, and I read them all in like 3 days. They were so good. They were so cute. I literally cried at the 3rd one. Literally cried. It's called The Witchlings. That's what the first one is called. That's also what the series is called. It's so cute. And it's also just a reminder that there's really great middle grade fantasy out there that doesn't have anything to do with that horrible English woman. So I would definitely recommend those. Then I went on like a romance tear. I just read, actually right over here. Last night I flew in from DC back to Austin, and I have a game that I like to play with myself where if my flight is delayed, I allow myself to go buy a book from the airplane airport. I don't really buy books because I have a truly incredible physical TBR and I read so many books like on my Kindle that I just never work through my physical TBR, and so I don't really buy books. Also, it's a really good way to save money to go to your local library. But one of my only exceptions is if my flight is delayed, I buy a book and then I try to finish it before I get home. It's like a game that I play with myself. It started a few years ago when every single flight that I was going on was just getting delayed, and I was getting like really in my head about it, and I had to like make myself this little game so that I wouldn't stop just like wigging out every time I went on a plane, because I do travel quite a bit because and I'm very fortunate to be able to, but I just have family kind of scattered across the country. I have friends scattered across the country. The point being, my flight was delayed 3 hours. And so I picked up Crazy Spooky Love by Josie Silver. This was so good. If you've ever read Janet Ivanovich, it was like kind of giving Stephanie Plum, which is one of my favorite all-time series from when I was younger. It's not a kid series. Like, it's fully for adults. They're very like beach reads. But my mom read them, so I read them, frankly, at probably like too young of an age, many times. And this was kind of giving that, but in like maybe a more plot-y way. Stephanie Plum, you know. Once she got to like 25, like there just wasn't too much to write about anymore. I think this used to be, I can't really tell, but I was looking at the, the like copyright page, and it said it was originally published in 2016, and then it was published again in 2025. So I was looking online and I couldn't really find too much about it, but judging from the author's Instagram and like the publication dates, my guess would be that this was independently published and now it's being traditionally published. So it's like a trilogy, a Melody Bittersweet novel, and this is the first one. With all that to say, this was excellent. It was really cute. It was really good. I think I would have liked it more had I was like, oh, I'm just not going to finish it by the time I get home. Getting really distracted at my gate. And then I got on the plane and we were delayed 40 more minutes on the tarmac because this guy behind me got super drunk and had to be kicked off the plane. So I actually finished this one quite early in the flight, which kind of sucked because then I'm not saying that this, like, I feel so bad for the parent, but there was a toddler who was screaming the entire flight and they were like so close to me and I was so overstimulated. I cannot, this is like why I don't want kids. And I'm not saying, you know, like I get it. You gotta fly, kids will kid. Not blaming the kid, not blaming the dad, but like hearing the toddler scream the entire flight and hearing her dad just desperately wish, be chill, the whole flight. I wish the book was longer to distract me. So I think I would have liked the book a little bit more if it had been under less unfortunate circumstances, but in general, I loved this. I already placed a hold on the second one, because, you know, I can't go buy the second one because I'd have to wait for my next delayed flight, obviously. But I would recommend, it's like a spooky paranormal romance. I guess it's not really a paranormal romance because the love interest is not paranormal, but it's basically about this woman who can see ghosts and she starts a ghost busting agency with her best friend, and then she's like kind of in a love triangle. I hate love triangles, but this one was like kind of fun, where like her ex is also can see ghosts. They're like the only two families in the town that can see ghosts, and so he broke up with her because they were like, it was a conflict of interest for them to date, and that's like before the book. So her like sexy ex is around, and then the like town reporter doesn't believe in ghosts and he's getting involved and they've always hated each other, but there's like tension. It was good. That's all I'll say. Would recommend. And the second one's already out. It has also already been traditionally published now, and she's writing the third one. So I guess it's like a romance trilogy, which I do think there should be more romance duologies and trilogies. That's like one of my biggest things, is I think more people should write them because they're excellent and it makes every romance better to just like make it a little bit longer. Those were kind of the highlights of what I read. I'm trying to think. I don't even know what else I read. Just like random books. I was trying to get into urban fantasy, but I couldn't really get into it in the book that I was reading. So if anyone has any urban fantasy recs, let me know. I actually didn't really play like any video games over the past month, like a little Stardew per usual, but I think I'm gonna get a new Pokemon game for Christmas. And I'm gonna hit that hard for sure. That's pretty much it. I hope everyone is doing as well as they can be in these times. If you have a holiday that you celebrate in December, I hope you enjoy the festive season. If you don't celebrate anything in December and you're frustrated by everyone saying that, I hope you can, you know, enjoy your December too, with just cozy up with a nice cup of tea and enjoy the weather. And I will see you all next time, hopefully after a Jingle Ball. Maybe I'll see you at Jingle Ball. Bye!